they hired this black American gangs to be harassing me. As I'm eating, it was surrounding me with stuff. And so it's calling me Baba, Baba. I'm like, what the hell did you just call me? I'm a female, don't call me Baba. Excuse me, that was you calling me Baba?
You said what?
Who told you my name is Baba?
I didn't call you Baba, I said Papa.
But what's the meaning of that?
That's just what I call people.
Oh, okay, don't call me that. I'm a female. I'm not a son. Why would you be
Why would I
calling
call you Baba? I don't know you like that. I don't know your name, my nigga.
Don't call me nigga either. Don't be rude to me.
I say what I want, homie.
Oh, no, you don't. You go to jail.
I'm a grown ass man with paid bills.
Okay.
I say what the fuck I want.
I'm a
the
child
fuck
of
I
God.
want.
Nobody disrespects me.
Listen, man, I ain't disrespecting nobody. I say what I want.
All
what
right.
the fuck I want,
You
bro.
don't do that to me as a child of
Anybody.
God. My God fights back. You don't want to have karma.
Listen, life has karma.
Okay. I'm just telling you. I record everything and my God fights back.
Record. Record for your safety and mine.
All right. Don't threaten me either. I know this shall pass. This too shall pass. This is just this Trump has really. Turned the society into something. And they don't fear God, they don't fear nothing. But the world is watching. They want to talk to our father South Africa. God is watching, the world is watching. If this Trump is gassing people up, this Trump is doing something. Who would have thought they don't even need a Hitler, all they need is a Trump for the whole society to be in chaos. And nobody can run the inheritance come on me. Don't call me no Baba. I'm a woman. I'm not anybody's father. And I'm not trying to be anybody's father. I'm just surrounded. As soon as I was eating, if you're African, you can't even breathe. Unless you're black American. That's the only time you can breathe. Eric Adams said they should be locking up homeless. And they're selective. Or would they want to lock up? They say definitely lock you up from the crazy. As this Trump said they should be locking up. They should be locking up foreigners. So we foreigners, we don't know who's going to get us. Eric Adams or Trump with his ICE or with mental health lockup. My mother's daughter is also friends with my mother like that. Lock that up indefinitely. And I know it's a lot of homeless when they're sleeping, they will surround them with their mental health police. They don't have any degree in psychiatry. And they surround you while you're sleeping. Now give you a nightmare, lock you up in the mental world without any safeguards on when you're going to come out. They've turned into like Hitler type society. This is crazy. This Trump is embodying people and their lawyers want to help you. They don't help Nigerians. I was in immigration prison. The lawyers that make fun of the Africans in immigration prison. Even my own lawyer. I was telling the judge they should deport me. Even though my mother was here, I was a minor child, and my mother had a green card. I ended up stopping. It got paid like $2,000 for my mother, and my lawyer stopped showing up in court. My mother ended up having a nervous breakdown. She was in a psychiatric ward. She wasn't crazy. She was just having a high blood pressure. At that time, she was working full time, going to school full time, and my kids got her worried, and they misdiagnosed her as, having a depression. She didn't have a depression. The St. Vincent Medical Center, they had a mental health clinic, Bailey City Hospital, and that's how they misdiagnosed her as depression. She wasn't depressed. I was the one having the immigration case. She was just worried for me, but she wasn't depressed. My mother wasn't depressed. I was the one having the immigration case, and why should she be the one to be depressed? But she had a high blood pressure. She was just, having to pay my lawyer money, and the lawyer wasn't showing up in court, and she was trying to raise up another money to pay for another lawyer, and the judge ordered me to deport him while my mother was locked up in the mental ward. Our own daughters You know, she called her daughters to come free her from the mental ward that they are misdiagnosing her. And the daughters, you know, didn't care to free her, you know, to help her set her free. Then her daughters took her away from Staten Island. One of them, Flora, was her husband was working for the U.S. military, and took her to Savannah, Georgia, to the U.S. Army military base, and told my mother to go and be collecting military benefits. My mother had to flee. All she had then was a green card, and she's lying and collecting military benefits when she's not a soldier. That's automatic deportation. That's 2001. George Bush was trying to deport immigrants. So my mother fled back from the U.S. Army base in Savannah, Georgia, came back to New York, returned to work. You know, and like 14 years later, our daughters, you know, while my mother was having another high blood pressure, came to the hospital, Bellevue Hospital, from Bailey City Hospital, where they misdiagnosed my mother as just depressed. And 14 years later, our daughters told them to misdiagnose her again. In Bellevue Hospital, they misdiagnosed her again, locked her up, and my mother couldn't take care. She died instantly. You know, they said they used to do this, frame people up as crazy. Even Michael Jackson's father said they were calling his son Wako Jacko, Wako Jacko, Wako Jacko. You know, his son wasn't crazy. You know, he said when they told him his son was dead in 2009, he said he knew they had killed him. He said in this country, when you start calling somebody crazy, especially if the person is black, most likely you're trying to kill that person. So when the press was calling son Wako Jacko, I said when they killed out Michael Jackson, they claimed it was just crazy, abusing drugs. And his father fought for him. They were able to get some justice. He locked up the doctor that was feeding him the drugs. You know, they said normally if they misdiagnose you as crazy, they can claim and beat you to death. Like these other people calling me, you know, taunting me, calling me nigga. It's an attempt to beat me to death. It's a lot of black Americans now are choking people. I was watching this video on Instagram. A black American security guy was choking a white guy. Choked the white, you know. So I guess that's what they're trying to do. And this Eric is empowering them. I criticize them a lot because I can't get justice. If people like this Eric Adams are blocking from getting justice, they won't help me arrest the Bellevue Hospital, the New York City. I report them to the NYPD that they killed my mother in 2015 in Bellevue Hospital. My mother wasn't crazy, but they had a history of misdiagnosing my mother as crazy. In 2001, when I had an immigration case, her blood pressure was high, and at that time she was working full-time, going to school full-time, and she had this left. And she was worried about me, but that didn't make her, you know, she wasn't crazy because of that. I was the one that was about to get deported. The immigration didn't, but, you know, try to deport her. They only said children are not welcome here. Well, and that shouldn't make her crazy. I was the one, even I wasn't crazy. I was the one that was planning to deport, and I wasn't crazy. You know, that was in 2001, and it was my mother. They misdiagnosed as having a depression in 2001, and my mother from the psychiatric hospital, she called her daughters. I was even the one that called 911 for her, because we were staying in a room together. And she was telling me she can't sleep and her body was feeling stiff. Her body was feeling stiff, and that's a sign of a stroke. So I called 911 that she can't sleep, and I went with her to the hospital. And they were misdiagnosing as crazy. No, she wasn't crazy. She just couldn't sleep, and her blood pressure was high. Even her friend that was from the Caribbean said she wasn't crazy, went to visit her in the hospital. Said, you know, instead of, and they were giving her psychiatric medicine instead of giving her blood pressure to lower blood pressure. And my mother said one of the psychiatric nurses was a friend, you know, in college from the 1970s. And so she was a Nigerian woman, and said that woman, you know, my mother was telling that woman, My mother was able to recognize that woman immediately in the St. Vincent Hospital, medical hospital. They had a psychiatric ward called Bailey Sitchin Hospital for that's the psychiatric. So my mother said she was able to recognize that woman. As a friend from the 1970s, I said that Nigerian woman ignored her. She was telling that woman to please tell the doctor that she's not crazy. So my mother called her daughters who were living in Pennsylvania and Georgia then to come and free her, but one of them didn't show up, only one showed up, Florida. And I one decided to go take my mother to Georgia instead of fighting the wrongful diagnosis. And once I took my mother to the military base, Flora was married to a US soldier. And they were, and she said that one was trying to get my mother to be collecting military benefits and pretend like she's a US soldier. And my mother fled back to New York. She was like, all she had was a brain card. Why would she want to be cheating and collecting government benefits? No. And she returned back to work in New York. And 14 years later, while she was having a heart problem, my mother went to Bellevue Hospital. And her daughter showed up at the hospital and told them to lock her up. The daughters confused the hospital based on the misdiagnosis from 14 years earlier. And I was the one that called the 911 because my mother couldn't sleep anymore. And she said her body was twisting up. And I went with her with the ambulance to the hospital, and I explained she was just, unable to sleep and she was having high blood pressure. And they went and took her to the psych ward. I said this is what they do, misdiagnose blacks as crazy all the time. Even our own daughters, when my mother, around that time also my mother took me to Pennsylvania while my immigration case was going on. Because our landlord evicted me and my mother from our New York apartment. Our daughters lived in Pennsylvania at that time. And my mother took me to Pennsylvania. Told me she was just going there for a short visit. And then when I went to get in the car back with her to come back to New York, our daughter hit me with the car, Flora. And the other daughter, Bolani, called the police on me. Said I was crazy. And they locked me up in Mercy Hospital, psychiatric hospital. Misdiagnosed me, was about to misdiagnose me as crazy also. And I told them, look, I got to come back to New York because I had an immigration case at that time, 2001. And they told me, my mother's daughters, Bolani and Flora, told the hospital that I was crazy just imagining I had an immigration case. As I have an immigration case for her. And they told me the hospital, they don't believe it. I had to call my lawyer in New York, Ralph DiPietro, who spoke with the hospital. My A number is 7795468. And my A number was again 7795468. And my lawyer told the hospital, that's my lawyer, Ralph DiPietro, 2001, they had an immigration court case at 26 Federal Plaza under Judge Annette Elston. And then the hospital then realized I really didn't have an immigration case. This was the daughter lying. And they apologized to me that they couldn't believe my mother's daughters would be lying to the hospital. But they never called the police to arrest her in Pennsylvania. And then 14 years later, she came to New York and told the Bellevue Hospital to lock my mother in the mental ward, that Bolani and Flora, and killed my mother that way. And now this Americana saying they should be locking up homeless. You have all these black Americans that disrespect me. They say once they can call you crazy in this country, they can disrespect you. And I believe they may be trying to kill me. So it's very easy to do an inheritance scam against somebody after the person dies. Let me just say that because crazy, I always wear my glasses. I'm cross-eyed, so I always wear glasses just to hide my cross-eyed. So they say it's very easy to do an inheritance scam against somebody. If they die. So I'm very bothered that this guy will be calling me Baba. Baba means a parent. I was born a male, I'm not a woman. I don't want nobody calling me Baba. My name is Baba Tunde, but I don't know this guy. Who told him my name is Baba? Sometimes people shorten my name to me. They don't even do that in Nigeria, but people in America sometimes they shorten that name to Baba. So somebody spreading my information to the Black American gangs, and instead of kill that African, and we're going to lie that this person, promised to adopt our children. I think it's why they want to kill me. It's under American law. There's something called parentage by estoppel, which means the court would allow an adoption to go ahead if they hear somebody was planning to adopt a child. So I believe they want the police to beat me to death, kill me, and then they can go file a lawsuit on my behalf. So I was planning to adopt the children. So they have a lot of Black Americans that don't like Africans, and they want to beat me dead. And then I have some of their gang members show up and say, look, they know me very well, and I plan to adopt the children. Maybe they may call me a Michael Jackson that was adopting little kids. I'm not a Michael Jackson. I don't plan to adopt anybody's kids. I'm just a Nigerian. My mother was killed here in America, and I was arrested by immigration wrongfully. I think some of these people are interested in filing a lawsuit in my name and getting the money for their children. And they said the best way to throw the statute of limitation is to claim the victim had post-traumatic stress syndrome, was mentally ill, and they choked the person to death. And so this is why they tried to misdiagnose me as crazy. And this Eric Adams also, they say he used to be a gang member, used to bully people for money. He went to prison. So I believe this will profit the Black American, that we Africans should accept of slavery. So it's also using this police to coordinate this. His police was like, when I came upstairs, I was trying to use the bathroom in the train station. They have a bathroom in the train station. And the police surrounded me and stood at the elevator. I always take the elevator because I have bags. And they were staring at me. And they have this Brazilian guy, he sounds like a white American, and he always plays music in the train. It's real loud. I don't know why they haven't arrested him. I talked with him one day. I was like, well, I told him I wanted to know about him. He told me, I think he was just telling people generally like he's from Brazil, and he's always, playing all this white American music to seem to mock me. For example, I think he plays this Matchbox 20 music, Alien on Broadway or something like that. But he said he's also from a foreigner from Brazil, but he sounds like a white American when he sings the song. And and today as I go to the train station, there was, use the bathroom they have a bathroom here. Around 9 p.m. Yesterday rather, it's now a different day. It's like 12 a.m. October 5 now, 2025. Yesterday was October 4, 2025. So as soon as I came by the elevator, the Uptown Out train platform, the police was standing by the elevator door. And they were giving me this horrible look like this, and they were looking towards my chest. And I have like a prosthetic breast I wear. I basically just use my bag. This bag has all my cell phone for a long time now. The police have been using and recording everything on my cell phone, and some of the cell phones, the screen is broken. So I can't really use it anymore, but I saved it as evidence. It has a lot of videos. The police arrested me. So I just use this bag. I use my jacket to cover my bag. I use it as a prosthetic breast, so people don't misgender me. And they calling me a man, but my costume is my chest. I was born a man, I'm a woman, so my chest doesn't appear too flat chested. So I have a lot of cell phones, almost 30 cell phones. Some of it is broken up. I've been recorded abuse by police, and some of this Black American gang believe, this is good evidence. They can kill me. I'm moved to submit the evidence and claim, I was tortured quite alright, and I adopted their children when I was alive. So they all the money to go to them. So this is why this Eric Adams is leading a crusade by the mayor of New York City, telling the police to be locking up homeless. And they can just choke you dead, so you don't even contest your mental status, so they don't even, end up getting a lawyer someday and freeing yourself. They can just choke you dead and claim, you were mentally ill and always fighting people. Or even have the Black American gangs. Yesterday was October 4, 2025. near where I met Rico Adams also and his sister helped me. There's a park there, Washington Market Park. I think they've been trying to kill me in that park. And it's the Black American workers there will try to give me trouble. Yesterday they locked up that park for 4 months. They just reopened and I tried to use the bathroom there. And the Black American guy quickly went and locked the workers. So you can't come in. And I was recording everything, said I can't record. It told me I can't record him either. Said he walked in the park. I'm like, excuse me, why are you in my way? The park bathroom I just opened at 8 a.m. I went there at about 8 a.m. also. And it was just bullying me, trying to troll me. And I'm the only person. They bother like that. A lot of Black Americans can do whatever they want, play music loud. This is a police precinct, and this guy plays his music loud. And nobody bothers him. This is Times Square. I don't know if it's a police agent or whatever, but really, I'm the only one that bothers me. I was sitting down here and the guy came calling me Baba, Black American said, excuse me, what are you calling me? They called me nigger. He said, you gotta call nigger. I'm like, okay, stop all this provocation. I'm not meat to kill and devour. I don't know what kind of cannibalism is going on in your country between you and Trump and Rick Adams. But stop trying to lynch people. There's laws against lynching. So FIFA is not safe. I know you head of FIFA, the president of FIFA, you're friends with Trump. Another African like me, they stole his green card, he was homeless. As soon as I started talking with him, I asked him where he was from. I'm under the FBI surveillance, so I was in immigration prison. And anybody I talk to, they go after the person and rob the person or whatever. So I just met that African some years ago on the street. He told me he's homeless on the train station, 34th Street, Aero Square, by the R train. He told me from Senegal and stuff. And as soon as I talked with him, 2 days later or so, he told me somebody came and robbed him of his green card and passport. Said, he's been homeless for so long before he met me. I said nobody robbed him. And some Black Americans said they're going to start killing Africans. Tragedy in Brooklyn. Even my mother also, as we were soon there, NYPD for taking her home. My mother said they were robbing everywhere she went. A Black American was going to help us every corner with the pocket person. His family said they were bothering him also and the police killed him. So there's a killer police union. This Eric Adam is also a former police officer. You may be aware of it. And it's mobilizing them to attack me as a Nigerian. And it's telling them to be locking up homeless. That's crazy. And said, and Michael Jackson's father said in 2009, he was on WBLS. At that time, my mother used to say the same thing. But my mother, me and my mother are under FBI surveillance since I was in immigration prison in 2000. So I don't know if the Michael Jackson's father has people snitching to him about me and my mother, because my mother used to say I look like Michael Jackson. I don't think so. So I don't know if they say some of the FBI agents would always befriend all the celebrities, or maybe they thought maybe I could one day maybe play maybe like one of what do they call it when somebody plays an actor. They say a lot of these Hollywood people always have people that play their body double and stuff. But my mother used to say the same thing before Michael Jackson died. Like, look, if when they start calling somebody crazy in this country, it's very dangerous. They could kill that person and get away with it. And as soon as they killed Michael Jackson in 2009, the radio show I normally listen to, WBLS, on Sunday morning, 9 a.m., Michael Jackson's father appeared on that show by phone. And he said it was suspicious all along that they were going to kill his son, because they were always calling his son Wacko Jacko, which means crazy. And he said when they killed him and told him his son died of a drug overdose, he said he knew right away his son was set up. He said his son wasn't crazy. And he said, when they start calling a black person crazy or wacko in this country, so they plan to kill that black person, especially if the person is not crazy. So 2 people that don't have rights in America are blacks and crazy people. Michael Jackson's father Joseph is not dead, but he said that in 2009. My mother used to say that also. So so I don't know if the FBI agent that listened to me and my mother speak, because I was under immigration surveillance since 2000 and I'm still under immigration surveillance, even though I finally got my green card. I don't know if they're the ones relaying all this information for all these celebrities. But this one I'm still experiencing 2025. So in case I get killed, I don't want anybody to put me in any to do any movie about me behind my back. You know, even though my mother say I as a child I look like Michael Jackson. You know, but I under the right of sepulcher, I can decide what should be done about my dead body or done about my state. In case I'm killed or I die, nobody should do a movie about me to depict me as Michael Jackson or in any shape or form or as anybody else. Nobody should act a movie in my name. You know, without me being alive to direct the movie. You know, I'm very concerned about my image. You know, and nobody really knows me like that. Even my mother's daughters, they always lived in the United States. I've always lived in Nigeria for a long time. So I never really grew up with my mother's daughters. So they don't really know me. And my mother said I trust I'm moving with a bad gang, like a narcotic gang. So I don't know why all these black Americans want to kill me. And maybe they believe my mother's daughters would be able to inherit the money from my estate and give it to them. So in case I get killed, no family member or friend should inherit any money from my estate or administer my estate. Even my mother said, daughters are moving with a bad gang, I shouldn't go near them in case they kill her also. I should always stay here in New York. I don't stay in Pennsylvania. I should always stay here in New York and try to find people strangers to help me. And it so happened in 2015, my mother was living with her daughters in Pennsylvania and she fled back and one of them was poisoning her food with cancer fish poison. That one is Bolale. So my mother said she was having bloody diarrhea and her heart was constricted. So she came to New York to escape the abuse in Pennsylvania, came to Bellevue Hospital, and then the daughters came here also without my mother telling them what hospital she was in. And my mother was shocked how they were able to locate the hospital without her telling them. You know, and which is a version of people you don't force your way into someone's medical treatment or people have privacy in their medical treatment in the hospital. That's HIPAA law. I said our daughters barged in and was calling my mother crazy in front of the doctors and got the doctors to lock my mother up. And that got my mother angry because she's been through that before in 2001 when they misdiagnosed her as crazy in another hospital as a foreigner. And Michael Jackson's father said, said they misdiagnosed people as crazy in America so much. Even his son was calling him Wacko. So my mother was just tired of going through that again. They did that to me in Pennsylvania. Also, our daughters told them to misdiagnose my crazy. I had to free myself. And so it's very easy. If you can just call a black person anything. A poor black person, you can frame them up, lynch them, So this is what is going on. So in case I get killed, no family or member or friend or so-called friend should inherit anything from my estate. Only civil activists like me should administer my estate, provided such activists have not denied me of the past, and get justice for me and my late mother, and donate the rest of my estate, any money from my estate, to charity, to those suffering xenophobia like me and my dead mother, and people who've been deported by Trump to prioritize. And in case I'm murdered, disabled, punched up, and put in coma forever, I shouldn't be removed from that country to be allowed to remain here to try to get justice. Because I'm not safe in another country because America has so much influence. And the police in New York won't help me for everything that's happened to me. My mother's daughters killed my mother, stole. The U.S. immigration gave me 2 green cards mistaken. They're supposed to give you only 1 in 2008 when my case was over. But they continued monitoring me with the FBI. And my mother kept 1 green card for me, I kept 1 for myself. And in 2015, when my mother's daughters killed her in Bellevue Hospital, they stole all her property, including my property in the storage, including the green card my mother held for me, and some of my passports, old passports. Then in 2019, the police arrested me, locked me up in the psych ward wrongfully again. My mother's daughter did that in 2001 to me in Pennsylvania. I had to prove that I wasn't crazy, and the hospital apologized. And 2019, while I was in New York, my mother said daughters are moving with a notorious gang. I believe they may be moving with a Me Too gang. Because my mother said one of the daughters, Bolale, when she came to America, she said that the person she was living with abused her as a child. So I believe she may be part of the Me Too gang, but they are also into all kinds of crime. This Me Too. Because I was trying to get this Me Too to help me, Gloria Allred of the Me Too, the lawyer there. I told her that the police invaded my home in 2010, kicked me and my mother out, and searched me naked in my house, And Eric Garner, a black American, told me was going to help me get justice in court with my court papers out. And he said the person I took Eric Garner did. And I asked the mutual lawyer Gloria Order to help me with my case against the police, take it to court as a lawyer. And she told me she can't help me, that she needs the police to help her arrest R. Kelly and Weinstein. And that she takes off my case against them, the police will drop the R. Kelly and Weinstein case, the FBI and the police. And she needs them to take the case and get a conviction so she can make more money for her client. So a conviction helps you score more money. And it was a bribery at that time, so I was telling people that this Gloria Order should be locked up because she's bribing the police to arrest R. Kelly and Weinstein. Then soon after that, the police arrested me, framed me up, and locked me up in the psych ward. And they were trying to kill me, they were choking me on the floor with their nail. The videos on my YouTube. Sabrina was just trying to kill me. So my mother's daughter, Bolani and Flower, would inherit money from my estate and share it with the gang. Because, anywhere I go, gang members were punching me, trying to kill me anywhere I go. After my mother's daughter killed my mother. So they've turned this America to one gangster's kind of paradise. And, no pun intended. Where the gangs are working with the police to kill foreigners and take all their money. So FIFA is not safe for Africans. I know you, FIFA president, Infantino is friends with Trump, and you say you talk to Trump all the time and say America is safe for foreigners. They are arresting foreigners, the immigration department, which is being ordered by Trump to arrest the immigrants. And the mayor of New York City is not supposed to be handling immigration, but he's trying to frame immigrants up as crazy. He told the police, the New York City police department, to be locking up homeless, and I've seen a lot of homeless. When they sit down, they put them for random and put them in handcuffs, take them to the mental ward. These are not doctors. They could beat the person dead. The last time they took me to the psych ward in 2019, they almost beat me dead. And they just framed me up. They had a guy jump me, attack me physically, and I was defending myself against the guy. Then the guy went away, and the police came and arrested me and choked me, so I was fighting. So they framed people up. The black American guy calling me a nigger in my house, in the police department, and calling me Baba and calling me nigger. And they could choke me dead. Say a lot of black Americans now are choking whites on Instagram. They show the video. So they're killing people with their aim of getting money. So I'm a victim of human trafficking. It's called human trafficking. When they try to kill a foreigner to kill them and get money from them and use their police. So this international criminal court has to investigate this. If you can charge the Israeli leader Benjamin Netanyahu with war crime, and you can charge Putin war crime, charge the New York City mayor with war crime also. We African lives matter. Usually when a non-African or a Westerner abuses an African, you don't charge them with war crime. It's only when an African abuses an African, like all these dictators in Africa, you sometimes charge the dictators in Africa with war crime. So please, what is happening in New York is very severe. Where the black Americans under this mayor can do whatever, play music loud. And, they don't really be arresting the black Americans. No, it's only us, poor Africans, they're arresting. Even the citizens that regard them, he sent his black American police to Canal Street, where the Africans just sell bags and sell shoes, and it's arresting them. And seize like a $1 billion worth of merchandise. And the South African police are roughing them up. So please donate to my Cash App NYC Homeless. It's like they want to drive me insane. And some black American guys say they're going to start killing Africans. And since then, the police started choking me then. I have all this evidence, but the police is not helping me. The federal agents are not helping me to arrest this black American gang. I recorded some of them. And as soon as I recorded him threatening me, the police came and arrested me, choked me, and locked me up in the psych ward. And he tried to me, said, we're going to harm you soon. So you keep recording us. And the police came and harmed me. So that black American guy, while I'm alive, I can still point him out. The international criminal court tried to help me. The Chinese American something else, killing people, stealing their property, and using the Africans to extort and exploit. But as in the immigration court, the lawyers will make fun of Africans after you pay their money and will start showing up in court, sell you out the immigration the government attorney prosecutors also collude with the attorneys for the Africans like me and mess up your case. And in my case, my lawyer was telling the judge to deport me, even though my case was good. I was a child being abused by my father in Nigeria, and also my mother had a green card. Under U.S. law. You can't separate a child and mother under international law. I was under 21. I was considered a child. So many horrors been happening. My friend again was trying to help me while I was trying to sue the police and the U.S. immigration. The police took my home in 2010. I was also trying to sue the U.S. immigration for arresting me. The police wanted to take him dead immediately. And eventually that would happen. So please direct to my Cash App NYC homeless before they kill me for ransom money. This is Ricardo Matonio to something else. I saw him in an area where Black Americans attacked me, and he walked by that area. I guess to threaten me. And I said, "Sir, can you help me?" It wouldn't happen. And since then, they've been hiring Black American kids to punch me up. I called the police on them, and the police will try to frame me up. So you're the one bothering everybody. We are going to fuck you up. You're the one that came here to America to bother us. You're an African bothering us with Black America. The Black American police will be harassing you also. And I said, once they kill you, the police officer can put anything in the police report. Claim you came all the way from Africa to bother them. And dismiss your death as rightful killing. So, they're holding Africans for ransom in case I get killed. This Eric Adams to be held responsible. This Trump to be held responsible. And, this Black American gets to be held responsible. My mother's daughter should be held responsible also. My mother, they're moving with a notorious gang. And I believe some of this gang may have recruited my mother's daughters to help them with the cover-up effort so that they can have my mother's daughters, cover up evidence and claiming I was crazy and I deserve to be killed. So this is a real setup. As an African, they stole all my IDs has been stolen, and I'm trying to get into a shelter that can help me get justice. I don't want a general shelter where they can beat me to death. My mother said they almost stabbed her to death. When she came to America in 1998, her daughters filed a green card for her. One of them, Bolale, who was a U.S. citizen, filed a green card for her. As soon as she came here from Nigeria, the daughter wouldn't give her food in Pennsylvania. My mother had to flee. And it's against the law to file a green card for somebody and not to assist them financially. You have to assist them to become that foreigner becomes a U.S. citizen also. So my mother fled Pennsylvania in 1998 as soon as she arrived from Nigeria because her daughter, that brother wasn't giving her food, and the other daughter also wasn't helping her. So my mother wanted to live in a broken shelter, and said a Black American there wanted to stab my mother dead. So my mother fled the shelter, and then she was living with some of her own friends, my mother's friends. She was able to find a job and came to Nigeria to pick me, and the immigration arrested me. So now my mother is dead. This is what we Africans have to go through. Suffer for nothing. And people block us, some Black Americans block us, threatening us that they're going to start killing Africans. So people are not supposed to walk up here, and they're planning to frame you up as crazy, like Michael Jackson's father said in 2009 before he was killed. And these guys are playing Michael Jackson's songs from here. It's been playing repeatedly. I don't know if that's a signal. And as soon as the Black American guy came, say Baba. I'm like, excuse me, how do you know me? My name sounds like Baba. Yes, I don't know you. He goes, nigga. I always call people Baba. I'm like, Black Americans don't call people Baba. And these guys been playing my Jackson songs. I've been here for like 2 hours. And as soon as I was seeing the guys trying to gotta go. I almost choked on my food. And it was, trying to get me angry. Say, Baba, you gotta go. I almost choked on my food because if you're angry and you're eating, and they say Black Americans are choking people on Instagram, Black American security. So anything I watch on video, I think they're undercover FBI that's monitoring me. I've been under FBI investigation since my mother brought me as a child here. The children are not allowed here. So I think anything I watch on video, they try to reenact any crime. I just watched it on Instagram like 2 days ago. A Black American choking somebody, a white guy. I think they're in New York City, a Black American security guard. So anything I watch, they try to reenact it on me. So I believe some of these FBI agents, some of them will be a Black American also, and using their power to abuse Africans like me. So in case so there's like a Black American movement and some and xenophobe movement trying to kill Africans in America. So this is a war crime. They are framing Africa under this Eric Adams, and it's giving them the go ahead with its policies, and it's telling them to focus on poor people and frame us as crazy. Michael Jackson father said that's the best way you can kill somebody in America. Call them crazy. So they're never gonna get justice. You know, so even his own son, when they were calling Michael Jackson, he knew they were gonna kill him. So these guys were playing Michael Jackson's song repeatedly. I was sitting there, you know, and then the attack began. I don't, because it normally doesn't. I mean, he always plays all kinds of music, but for some reason today he's playing Michael Jackson's song. And then the attack began. The black American guys surrounded me. As soon as I was in it, I'm like, how come you're locking up this section at 12:38 a.m.? Normally people close things at the on top of the hour, not like 12:38 a.m. Maybe 1 a.m., 2 a.m. I don't even have any time schedule. I'm like, usually people, if you're gonna closing time is usually at the top of the hour, not at 12:38. Who shuts things down at 12:38? Usually you just shut things down 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. So people won't be confused. And it's surrounding as soon as I was in. So I believe that's a provocation, and the black American prosecutor who doesn't help me is supposed to prosecute the people, nobody. A worker for the city shouldn't be calling somebody nigger. Shouldn't be calling them Baba. Baba means father in Nigerian language. I'm not his father, So this is what is going on. So and even if I call the police, they wouldn't have me. They would try to arrest. Or maybe I'm just crazy. I need a mental hospital to sleep. So this is policy of locking up people in mental ward if they're poor black. It's really preventing people like me. My mother's been killed. My son has been killed from engaging with the police. And I don't mean I want to marry the police. From contacting the police to report crime. So Brooklyn Federal Court, you said the police can't be arresting people of color for any stupid reason. There has to be a serious crime. And this Eric Adams is disobeying you. And now I'm unable to report crimes. There was a day a guy tried to stab me on the train. And one of my witnesses was an African guy that saw it. And he was also afraid of talking with the police after I called the police. So this is going to prevent justice. Because someone like me, I should be able to call and report everything to the police. So even in case I'm killed in the future, at least my phone call to the police, which is always recorded, anytime you call 911, which is the emergency number to contact the police, is recorded. Anybody can listen to those records, ask the court to release any record the police may have of me, calling for help, and people able to find out. But now, as an immigrant, it's very hard for me to get police assistance, because this Adams said they should be arresting homeless people and put them in mental ward indefinitely. Which means there's no safeguard on when you come out. He said he has a mental home, it's built also to lock the homeless people. Even though the city legislature, the Cordon City Council passed a law that anybody that's homeless should be able to get a housing voucher, like other cities like Texas are doing. That anybody homeless will get a housing voucher to rent a place anywhere in New York State. They have a lot of vacant apartments upstate, like in Westchester and stuff. But it's just if you have a housing voucher, you can use it. But this Eric Adams blocked that law, and now the court has told him he has to comply with that law, and he's been delaying and said he wants people to put a mental ward instead. And what the police are arresting people, put them in mental ward. They've been killing people under their custody. A legal aid lawyer, a free lawyer, said one of our clients, the police arrested that person, and she saw the police do this to the person, threatening to kill the person, and the next day they told her the person is dead. I've been caught on the legal way, but they're not helping as an African. I guess they don't want me to make so much money off of the horrors I've experienced in this country. So please donate to my Cash App, NYC Homeless. Look, they don't let me sleep at night. Black American gangs. My mother's daughter also, they're moving like in a gang. My mother's moving with a gang. Sometimes I see them in New York. I see them at Bolanle. I'm like, what's she doing in New York? She just walked past us and begging for money. And she won't give me nothing. I think she even looked in a hotel in front of the New York City, the office that pays money to people that sue the police. It's called the Corporation Council. She's staying on under Church Street. She's staying in like a hotel across the street from down under Church Street. You know, I couldn't believe it. They planned to kill me, and that's why she's lodged in that hotel. And anytime I see her around that area, the police will try to kill me. You know, so they believe you can kill a black person and make money. Nobody will bother. Even my friend Rihanna, they killed him and got away with it. If they have evidence, it was killed on purpose. The whole world marched for that Rihanna. So they're playing the war for a fool. The police officer that killed Rihanna went over Scott Tree. So they've made us Africans, you know, as weak witnesses, you know, that, you know, they didn't even let me talk in court. They never even contacted me. You know, and this Ricardo starts saying they should be locking up homeless in the psych ward. You know, and the story on my passport ID, well, I've been homeless for 15 years. The police arrested me, stole the rest of all my IDs after my mother stole a lot of my old passport and my green card also. So I'm a victim of human trafficking. Anybody around the world that know any organization that can help me so I can get justice. My cash app is NYC Homeless, the $sign NYC Homeless. Thank you.